go, Jim. He's dead.
Hello, and welcome to Improv Autopsy. I'm your host, Stephen Cadwell. In this episode, I interview Kelli McBride, a former Chicago improviser who now resides in South Bend, Indiana. Kelli runs Lark Comedy, where she teaches both adult and teen classes and directs performances for both an adult group and a teen group as well. Kelli is working hard to keep improv alive in South Bend, and I've had the pleasure of both seeing her perform and playing with her on stage. She's an extraordinarily supportive player, and her love of improv is palpable. I hope you enjoy getting to know Kelli as much as I have as you listen to Kelli McBride's Improv Autopsy. Kelli McBride, thank you for joining me on Improv Autopsy. You've had experience in Chicago, I know for sure, but I'm curious, what was your first encounter with improv? When were you first exposed to improv, and what was that like?
Oh, well, I guess I can say I'm old enough when IO started, when it was Improv Olympic, back at the bar at Cross Tracks. I forgot what the name of the bar was, but it was something like that. And it basically was like any other place trying to do improv now. That's what it looked like. People at the bar going, "What is this?" and then trying to do a show. Yeah, from when Sharna first started it, Sharna and Dell. That's when I was in Chicago, and I thought, I really need to do that. I also did Players Workshop, which I met some of my best friends at Players Workshop, and it just taught me so much about just humanity in general. Our group was tight, and I've had that one other time in my life, but man, that was a really cool experience.
Awesome. So did you grow up in Chicago? Did you move to Chicago? Why were you in Chicago?
I grew up in Detroit. I'm a Detroit girl. I went to Chicago actually because I have a BFA in graphic design and in marketing, and so I went into advertising, and I knew I wanted to do comedy. I was doing some stand-up when I was at school, and then I decided, you know what, improv, it seemed like it would fit really well with advertising and trying to do campaigns, and I just like comedy, so I thought, I'm going to try that and see where it goes, and I never went back. I just stayed with it, so.
How did you get connected to Players Workshop then? Which came first? Was it you walk into the bar and improv is there? Did you go to the bar knowing IO was there and that was why you were there? Or was it something that you happened upon accidentally?
Some of my friends that were doing stand-up mentioned Players Workshop and said, if you want to learn improv, really learn it and not worry about, I'm going to have to get on stage or I'm going to have to audition and blah, blah, go to Players Workshop. And that's what I did. And it was a great piece of advice because it really did teach me a lot. David Murphy, who I think still teaches there, maybe, he was awesome. He was just great, and we ended up having him through all of our levels all the way to our grad show, and it was just a really tight group. It was a cool group to be in.
So that was your inroad into improv then, was Players Workshop?
Mm-hmm.
And what took you over to where Sharna and Dell were doing their thing?
I just wanted more. I wanted to do more. I wanted to learn more. I was fascinated by improv, but it was really intriguing to me, and it just was amazing how you could take one word and build a whole set off of one word, and I really wanted to learn that. Being neurodiverse myself, I mask a lot, and improv kind of gave me a chance to kind of just let my freak flag fly, I guess.
Yeah.
And not worry about it. And I wasn't alone either. There were quite a few neurodiverse people in improv, and it still is that way still.
Yeah.
It was therapy. It was pretty good therapy for me.
And do you remember anything about those first classes you took? Does anything stick out in your mind still in terms of either something that was said to you or something you witnessed or something you experienced in any of those classes? Anything stick with you still?
Oh, sure. When I started, I was really intimidated. And I'm funny, but my go-to if I'm a little nervous is I get pretty sarcastic. And sometimes that works in improv, but a lot of times it'll shut down a scene. So my first improv was kind of hit or miss. It wasn't that great, but it really did teach me how to communicate with someone, even if they're not listening, how to get them to have a conversation. And the one thing I do remember is, because I had a lot of emotions. I was just brimming over with emotions and big energy, and I didn't know how to really regulate that. And I think it was Dell actually that said, you have bigness, you have big energy, and you need to figure out what's the emotion that'll match that energy. And after I really tried to do that, like, am I sad? I'm not just going to be, I'm sad. It's more like, oh God, that really disappointed me. Be more authentic. My scenes got 100% better.
Awesome.
Del was pretty amazing. Del was the character for sure, and Del's stories are endless, but he had so much passion for the art of improv and just the connection and the communication that it was fascinating to watch him, and then just it was funny to watch him because he didn't care. He did not care, and he just was trying to get his point across. And if you got it, hooray, you did improv. If not, you went, oh, okay, Del's weird, and you left, you know?
So when you say he didn't care about what?
Here's one story, and I've heard it a few times, so I'm gonna say it's true. And Bill Murray actually would probably be the person to ask and see if this is actually true. But he was in a Dell class in Chicago, and they were doing trust things and trust exercises and whatever. And Dell climbed up on something tall and said, "Catch me," and jumped off. And everyone was stunned and like, "What?" And no one caught him, and he fell. And I don't know what happened after that, but then he did it again. And finally he did it till they caught him. And I'm like, he literally threw himself off a high something just to prove trust. Or that sounds like such a Dell thing to do, actually. But yeah, he would go to those kind of lengths to make a point.
Yeah. So when you say he didn't care about how people were thinking about him or any sort of judgmental energy that was coming toward him. That was what he didn't care about?
No, he did not care. He knew what improv could do for people, and he knew how powerful it was, and he knew what an art form it was. And people that tried to act like they knew improv or were kind of shallow or whatever, he just cut them to pieces. And it was not for the delight of watching someone get ripped apart, but just to keep it, the art form in it. I think when Del was there was when a lot of the big improv people that everyone knows came out around that time too. And I got to think it's probably because of a lot of Del's coaching and pushing and sticking to what he thought was correct.
Yeah.
He didn't always do it in the most sane way, but yeah. He was good. He was definitely one of a kind.
So your inroad was Players Workshop, and then you moved over to IO. Had you seen any improv before you started Players Workshop?
I saw one show that my friend was in. You know how your friends always ask you to go to their shows?
Yeah.
So I saw a few of those. One of them, I will say, kind of made me go, yeah, I think I'm good. I don't think I need improv. But then when I saw really good improv, I was like, yeah, there is something magical that I need to know about here. And one of my friends, actually, that she's neurodiverse too, and she has issues with tics or movements. And improv actually helped her gain control of that and not worry about it. And so her tics were still there, but she was confident enough where it became, well, that's what she does. Like when you're imitating someone, the way they walk or something, her tic became part of her personality. So it really gave her like a big confidence boost, and it was supported and it was applauded because she got laughs and she got approval and people responding to her in a scene. And I thought that is something, that's a communication thing that really needs to be explored in other areas. That was put in my head long, long ago, and I just always thought there's got to be something there that would help.
Yeah. Was your first show then the grad show, or is that the first time you performed improv?
Yeah, and then that was the very first improv show I did. And then I got a couple other shows based on that show, which was cool. And that just kind of took off. And then I started taking other classes. It led to on-camera classes. I did a lot of voiceover until I stopped smoking and my voice changed. I mean, but it was cool. It led to this whole other source of income for me.
And you did the Players Workshop shows.
Mm-hmm.
Was IO a structured thing at that time? Like, were there classes that you could take, and did you do that? Or how was that organized?
Yes, there were classes, and I did take them. It is not as advanced as it is now, by any means. It was beginning couple of classes, maybe couple of levels, one or two. But they had a couple. Blue Velveeta was a big house team at the time, and Barron's Barracudas. It was like 4 teams that were just the best of the best, and they're still doing it. Like you would recognize all the names, and it was just awesome. And so I'm like, yeah, I got to do that. I got to take classes. I want to learn from these people. A lot of the UCB people were starting to teach there, and it was cool.
So were you there then when they moved from just the bar to having their own space?
Yes. Yeah.
And that was the Wrigleyville space?
Yeah.
Okay.
The old Wrigleyville space. Yeah.
I didn't know how many spaces IO had occupied in its time, if it was just more or less Wrigleyville and then the new space.
Yeah, I think three, but the Clark space was the one that I basically lived at and performed at. And yes, Wrigley on game days, it was just pandemonium, it was
Yeah.
crazy. It was instant entertainment to just go out the front door of IO and watch drunk people walk by, and do
Yeah.
drunk things.
So long as it wasn't competing with what you were doing on stage.
Yeah, or when they would come in, hey, let's go see some comedy after we drank all day. No, that's not really a good idea. But it did get you really good at dealing with hecklers.
Did you continue with your stand-up through all that?
I did. Kind of like when I was really getting into a lot of the comedy and the improv and stuff in Chicago. Unfortunately, my parents got sick, and so I put it on ice for a little bit, go back and forth to Detroit to help them out and see them through till the end of all their sickness. And so I kind of lost the momentum a little bit, but when I came back, it was a lot of improv, laid off the stand up because I wasn't really feeling that funny, to be honest.
Sure.
A lot of my stuff went a little dark because of just, losing parents pretty close to each other. And I had to grow up real fast. I couldn't be, hey, I'm 20 and having fun. It had to be, oh, I got younger siblings
Yeah.
that I need to shape up. So I've done it since then and I teach it and I love it. Do I do it now? Not as often as I should because I really like to go to sleep early. So
That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
I do like sleeping.
I like to collect improv group names or team names just because I love them. A lot of them are really, really stupid, but I love them. Do you have any named groups you've been a part of?
Sexy was one with an exclamation point. That was pretty funny. What else? Oh, Pache Dancers was kind of my house team that I was on. I was on Georgia Pacific for a short bit. I would sit in on teams and then just play on different teams. When you go to IO and it's late,
Yeah.
if people need people to jump on stage, sometimes you would just jump on and play with people. So I did a lot of that in the later years, I guess. But yeah, Pache Dancers.
Is there a story behind that name? Do you know how that name came to be?
Well, Pache was on the team, and we were thinking of our name, and we couldn't think really of a name, and we just thought, let's go kitschy, let's go campy, and we do not dance, but Pache Dancers sounded hilarious, so it stuck. We made him our guy.
I like it. And Georgia Pacific, someone just really into paper?
Yeah, actually, I think that's how they got their name was they were in the bathroom and the toilet paper was Georgia Pacific, or the dispenser was Georgia. Yep. And I think that's how they got their name, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's how.
Yeah. See, and to anyone listening, team names don't require a whole lot of thought. They can. You can do that, but obviously,
Baby Wants Candy found their name because they put a lot of words into a hat and just pulled out 3 random words and put it together. That's how Baby Wants Candy was formed. So yeah, there are different ways to do it.
Yeah. And Baby Wants Candy is very memorable name. So,
It stuck.
Is there anything that you've witnessed improv-wise that you still don't understand? Anything that you still wonder about, either in terms of why did they do that, or why did that succeed, or how did that succeed, or even moving on to like some of the most shocking things you've seen or done on stage?
The one thing I will say it was Sexy that did it. Somehow our scene was ending, and I'm not going to remember what the suggestion was, but it played into, we were doing kind of like made up song at the end or something, and the theme of the show was leaving or something like that, and we just sung ourselves right out of the building. And then they're like, oh, well, I guess the show's over. And then we came back on and took a bow, but yeah, they had to end the show because we just decided to leave as a group. So that was kind of funny.
I love that.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
As long as you do it as a group, then it counts, I guess.
It's funny because 2 really intimidating things about being on stage, especially doing improv. The first one that ranks pretty high up there anyway is even going out there, right? Mm-hmm. Going out on stage, like that's hugely intimidating for a lot of people. And then for some reason, when you overcome that hurdle and you're out there, the second one is leaving. People feel like they can't leave the stage. So yeah, it can be a really interesting and powerful choice to walk off the stage.
At the time, we were just really connected and all had a great group headspace and all that. And no one motioned, nothing. We just all followed, and someone started and we followed and we supported. And when that happens on stage, when something organically happens that you weren't planning but everyone does it, it really is kind of that magical moment where, oh, this is what improv is.
Yeah.
This is when you really do what you're supposed to up there and don't get in your head. This is what happens. And it's so cool to watch because it shouldn't happen, but it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And things like that too, like just walking, very Kaufman-esque,
Mhm.
just leaving the stage. And that's part of what I love about live theaters, because anything like that can happen at any time. And live theater is the place where that can happen. That doesn't happen in the movies. It doesn't happen when you're watching a TV show, experiencing something like that.
Live theater, there is an energy and just a connection that happens. And that's why, God, I hope live theater never dies, because seeing something live as opposed to on a screen, it's just a different experience. And if you are really into something and it's just you're there with them, it's like you're doing it too. And you can't really substitute that. And with improv, that's why improv works so good with live theater, is that the audience is part of it and they help create it too with their suggestions.
Yeah.
So it's just a wonderful experience for everyone, usually. I mean, you've seen bad improv, right? You've seen it when it just crashes and burns. And sometimes that's hilarious too, if they can find the joke in how horrible it went.
Yeah.
But when it goes right, it really goes right. And it's amazing. It really is just a group mind. And you think, oh, wow, we can solve war, or something.
Yeah. Well, that leads into my next question, and you may have already answered this to some extent, but can you remember, or what was the first time you really clicked with your scene partners in terms of having group mind and really being all in it together?
There was one that I remember and it was with Pache dancers, and it was with Pache out in a scene. And he was doing a scene, and he was kind of nervous or trepidatious. I'm not sure what the scene was, but he was nervous, and he was trying to explain that. And I came out, and I started being his beads of sweat just flying off him. He was nervous. And my team looked at me like, get off the stage! What are you doing? And for a minute there, I'm like, what am I doing? I shouldn't be out here doing this. But I stuck to it, and he kept doing what he was doing, being nervous. And then the scene came back, and he was in a different scene, but he was nervous again. So I went out again, and I started being sweat. And then not only that, but the sweat started rising like it was a pool at this point. And then it came back the third time, and it's the rule of three, and the audience lost it. They were like just screaming. It was, and I'm like, thank you for not making me feel so bad about making that choice. Because, the first time they were like, what the hell? Second time they're like, okay, you brought it back funny. Third time they're like, brilliant, and it wasn't. It's just rule of three kicked in.
Yeah.
But the fact, Pat I remember giving me a look like, what are you doing out here? But I stuck with it, and he let it happen, and everyone on stage kind of let it happen, and then let it happen again. And then the third time people realized, and I think someone even jumped in and was sweat with me, like uber sweating.
Yeah.
It just became his identity in this scene throughout, like the scenes. It was basically, I think he went through his day with different people in different scenes, but he was still just sweating like crazy through the whole thing. So it was just a little thing, but it became kind of what the whole thing was about, was his sweat.
That's a great illustration of holding on to your thing and committing to a choice, because I imagine it was very tempting to be like, oh, sorry, I'll just leave and let you be nervous. And
yeah, like, oh, was that,
yeah.
Wrong scene. Masking for so long, or always second guessing what I say or do or how I act. What really helped me was, one of the rules is give 100%, because if you give 100%, the audience is going to be with you. They see that you are really giving 100% and they're on your side. So it might not be the best scene in the whole world, but you won't fail. They'll walk away going, that was a good scene, and they really put their all into it. And so I always, after that, no matter what the scene was, I would always give 100%, thinking, even if the scene wasn't great, at least I really tried to make it great, and I can walk away with that feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
And that's something that I always tell my students too. Just commit, give 100%. Don't think, oh, this is so dumb in the middle of a scene. It's improv.
Right.
You can have two noses. It's fine. It's improv. And
yeah.
People, once they start doing that, then they start connecting more, and the audience gets into it more too.
Yeah. You mentioned that the crew that you were with in Players Workshop, that you were really tight. Were you experiencing the rest of this with any of them? Did you guys stick together after Players Workshop, or was that just a really great experience there and then you all kind of dispersed but kept in touch?
Yeah, there was a improv group, 8 Degrees Below Normal. I forgot about that one. And I lived in Bucktown at the time, and there was a bar that we used to perform at every Wednesday and then would go out and do shows. That was something that came off of the Players Workshop group. Voiceover came off of the Players Workshop group. I got into voiceover stuff. And yeah, we just became really good friends. Like, actually, I would do freelance advertising because improv, I know, pays so well, but sometimes I would have to supplement. And so I would get freelance jobs with my other improvisers. There was a lot of advertising people in improv as well. So a lot of different creative outlets came out of that group, which great.
Yeah.
I wanted it to keep going. I like doing it.
What would you say is the hardest fail you've experienced or witnessed?
Oh man. Okay. I was in, God, I can't even remember the name of the group. Like literally when you would get kind of they would call it your improv, when you got put on a team, it was the team name. And it would be like almost like how people name litters of puppies. We're going to go with spices. So this is paprika, this is pepper, this is, and they do that.
Yeah.
That's kind of how they would name the names of the teams. And then they said you would get your slave name and then you would get your regular name. I think is what Peter Quinn used to call it. So here's your slave name, and now you get to name your team. And I don't even remember the name of that team because we had one show. It bombed so badly, and I think it was because the lack of being able to hear the suggestion.
Yeah.
It was just a bunch of new people fresh out of class. I was not fresh out of class. They always put a couple of people that have been on teams on these new teams so they didn't totally suck sometimes. But there was nothing really to help out on a team. There was just like so much going on, and it was a horrible show. And I remember Sharna came backstage afterwards and just ripped us a new one. It was awful. And pretty much she basically told us, you will never be on my stage. Was Cunanan. Remember the guy Versace, Andrew Cunanan? And someone heard cumin, and just we couldn't get traction because I don't think everyone heard the suggestion correctly. And she took it as we totally ignored the suggestion. And it's like, that was a really loud show and not everyone heard it. And so they just, in defense, we were just trying to like catch up, and it didn't really hit. And it wasn't the opening she thought it should be. And this guy at the time was all over the news because he just killed Versace. And, honestly, I didn't want to talk about that dude. I was just like, God, I'm kind of over it. So I was kind of hoping that wasn't what was heard. But whatever. That was an awful show. She ripped us a new one. Paul Grandi was our coach, I think, for a minute. And I felt so bad for Paul because Paul is so awesome. And that group it was just lambasted by Sharna, in the light booth. We just got our ass handed to us. So that was it. That was probably the worst, I would say.
Did that group perform again then, or no?
Oh, God, no. I'm pretty sure. No, that group was broken up that night. That was it.
You would think that would be enough.
She just was so disgusted. I mean, yeah, was it a crappy show? Yeah, it was. You're right. But now you're breaking your own rule of it's improv. If you have a bad show, guess what? Your next one is right after it. So don't latch on to a bad show. Just keep going. It's trial and error, and you're making it up. But apparently, we weren't supposed to make it up. That was supposed to be a scripted show, I think. And we just, it just was a cluster. And it didn't come together, and she took that experience. I gotta think she was in a bad mood to begin with, because she came hard at us. And to me, I'm just like, that's Sharna. That's a Sharna thing to just blow up. But I thought these new people that just were fresh out of a class and like, yay, we're performing, to have that happen to them, I doubt any of them went on to do improv after that. Oh. I really doubt it. I don't think we were allowed to talk to each other. It was so toxic after that. I think we were all banned. That's the year I legally changed my name so I could do improv there again.
That's what I'm saying. You'd think that just breaking up the team would have been enough versus bringing you into the light booth and having your ass handed to you. Like, if you're going to just break us up and kick us out, do you need to?
That light booth was not soundproof either. It's like the audience was still out there going, wow, this is awkward. And I just thought, is there an escape hatch in this light booth? I don't even want to go out there now.
The next week, someone's like, okay, this is going to be a great show. So what's going to happen is we're going to watch the show and then stick around, because then we'll hear them get yelled at afterward. That's part of the experience.
The old notes afterwards. I know.
Yeah.
It was awful. It was a bad one. And I think like even to the point, when you hear about it, you hear like the gossip around the theater and you heard of this one group that totally tanked and Sharna blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, that was our group,
Not just a rumor.
They weren't that bad. They were fine. They weren't that bad. It was bad.
What space was that in? Was that on the Clark Street space?
That was the Clark one, yeah. It was a pretty big audience too.
Downstairs?
Downstairs. Wasn't even on upstairs. It was downstairs on the main one.
I remember seeing a show in an alum or somebody was there, and I don't remember who, which is kind of funny because that's why we were going to this show. And there was a Herald team opening up, and I don't remember the name of the Herald team either. But what I do remember is Sharna was sitting down front, and for their opening, for some reason, they started like just playing a baseball game. Like someone was the pitcher and someone was the batter, and they got kind of so enamored with what they were doing, they just kept playing fake baseball, and it was still just the opening, and we're going on like minute 10.
Love it.
And Sharna's like been rolling her eyes, and she starts to get audible, making like, and finally she goes, "Move on!"
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, that sounds like Sharna.
Yeah, the irony there for me is I remember that, but I don't remember like the headliner, the people whose names I should have remembered that we were there to actually see. But I remember the terrible baseball scene that Sharna yelled at in the middle.
Right?
Yeah, God bless her.
She had no problem with giving notes on stage.
Yeah.
Like when a show's going on, you could hear her give notes sometimes, like, and,
Yeah.
It's Sharna. Did you have class with Sharna? And how was your experience with Sharna?
I guess it wasn't a class. She wanted to talk to all the Herald teams.
Mm-hmm.
So my Herald team, which was very short-lived anyway, but we were still a team at that point. So we went to this thing and she felt like she needed to clarify some things about Herald and what her expectations were in terms of how things should go. And in that atmosphere, I left that thinking she knows a lot more about this than I ever gave her credit for. But my experience was just that one thing, so I didn't have to have a whole class with her.
Yeah, she does know improv, and she's done it so long, it's like the back of her hand. The one thing, and I can appreciate this now as well, improv is improv, and you should be allowed to experiment on stage, but it gets a little tricky when people are paying to see it, and they want to be entertained.
Yeah.
They don't want to watch a train wreck every night. And so there is a point where you have to entertain people on stage. It's fun to explore, but you also have to keep the cadence up, make it entertaining, do the connections and all that. It can't just be a total art form or else we'll have it in a gallery. You got to perform. You're entertaining people. And so I get that she had a lot of money sunk into it.
Yeah.
And if people were not being funny or entertaining, or people weren't walking out of there going, yeah, I'm going to take a class, that's what I'm going to do, then that's a problem. It would be short-lived. So she had to keep driving the entertainment value into the teams. I mean, everyone would love it to stay art form and fun and happy and kumbaya, but the bottom line is, if you're trying to make a living off this or run a business, it has to have some talent. You have to be able to produce, or people will not come. I mean, they'll come for a while and then they'll drop off, unless they're sadists and they really want to watch bad improv all the time. Some people do isn't there something refreshing about watching horrible improv, like really bad improv? I kind of like it. I don't, maybe because I've seen so much. When someone just really craps it on stage, I find it entertaining. Don't you want to take a class from me now?
I think I know what you're saying, because I've definitely been to shows where I feel like I'm laughing in places the audience isn't, and probably for the wrong reasons, but I'm definitely entertained.
That's a seasoned improviser. It's like, in stand-up, a lot of the people doing stand-up, they're in the back of the room. And when a person on stage does a joke for another stand-up comic in the back, that's the best. Because when you can make the whole back line laugh of people that have been on stage or going to be on stage that are waiting and watching you, when you've done it long enough, that's the laughs you want, are the ones from your mentors or whatever in the back.
Yeah. I feel like when I'm laughing in the wrong places, sometimes I feel bad about that, because I feel like, oh, that wasn't what they intended. I found it terribly funny, but I know that's not because they were trying to be funny or shooting for something that moment. So sometimes I do feel bad about that.
But they gotta laugh, so.
Yeah. True. Yes. That's what you want, right? That's what you're there for.
Right. I love talking to people that have been in improv forever and ever and ever, because you hear the bitterness come out sometimes, but there is always the love of the art of improv and just what it can do.
Yeah. One of my questions is, can you still watch improv? But I think you just answered that.
You know what? I like teaching level ones because these people, it's just how I felt, so awkward like a baby giraffe up there. And you don't know what you're saying and you're second guessing. But then when they have a connection and that aha kind of comes and they get really excited, it's kind of cool to watch that. Like you help them open a whole new door to possibilities of stuff. That's cool.
Yeah.
When you get improvisers that know what they're doing, but they're putting like a half-ass kind of effort into it, then you're kind of like, all right, there's a couple of things I want to watch tonight on TV besides this. It kind of gets to that point where, okay, I've seen this. All right. I don't say it out loud, but I'm like, all right, okay. Yeah, I know where this is going. you know?
Yeah.
But I can definitely watch it. I love improv. I love when it works, it's just awesome. It's such a mood booster.
Yes, I agree.
It's interesting teaching teens because you throw in hormones and awkwardness and just unbelievable bursts of energy.
Yeah.
It's a challenge, but it's fun because they will do things that no human should do, but they'll do it. Or you can just see them starting to come out of their shell and be very intimidated and don't want to look foolish. But then afterwards, they're like, whatever, and they don't care. It's cool. Teens are fun to teach. They're not hardened by life yet so much. They're getting there, but they're not quite there yet.
So do they remind you a little bit of the Kelly that Dell gave that note to about harnessing that energy?
Yeah, I do have ADHD, and so I know when someone has ADHD, I can tell right away, even if they're trying not to have it. And I know in the teen troupe that I have, I think maybe 4 or 5 of them have ADHD at different levels. And so you can tell when someone's overstimulated or they're crashed. They did too much and now they're crashed. I think it's a great way for kids that have that to let out their emotions or their energy, get it out, because they're allowed to do that.
Yeah.
So I think that for a lot of kids with ADHD, it's an awesome technique. It's an awesome outlet for them.
Yeah. As far as your stage experience goes, do you remember any particular scene or show where you weren't on the same page as your group, just didn't click?
Yeah, I think when our adult group here is the Shower Buddies, and we had a show, and I just think everyone had a bad day. Like everyone had something going on during the day that kind of dragged into the show at night.
Yeah.
And everyone did a good job of being like, okay, leave it at the door. Just get up there and do it. But the show just felt off. And usually, we crack each other up on stage so much. It's hilarious to us. And then usually the audience feels like they're in on the joke, so they have a good time too. But for some reason, we were just not connecting. For this one, God, I think we were doing Art Beat here. And we had a good audience. There was a lot of people there, but I just felt like we were kind of off. And there were just different things that led up to us being off. It was an okay show, which I reminded everyone, hey, you didn't let it go to crap. You stuck with it all the way through. Was it our best show? No. Was it our worst show? No. It was an okay show.
Yeah.
We didn't crash and burn. We just didn't connect. And, everyone was like, yeah, we were off. We were off. So then we got a beer and we got back on with each other. But it was off. It was just being an adult. It's hard to leave stuff at the door because it's a little bigger than I got a D in biology. It's more like my wife left me. I'm gonna go do comedy now.
Yeah.
Or I just lost my job. I don't know how I'm paying rent. Hey, let's do some funny stuff.
Yeah.
Life happens and it's not always fun. So
it's great to hear that y'all hung out afterward to reconnect so that you didn't leave with that feeling kind of still hanging over you.
Right.
Is there any tricks of the trade or anything that you attempt when you're on stage in those moments to get that connection? Is there anything that can be done, do you think? Or is it just like, we just got to get through this?
Well, if the scene is just not connecting, you can do a big movement or make a big noise or do something that changes the scene or changes the trajectory of the scene. One of Sharna's things that she says is someone finds a lottery ticket on stage. Oh my God, it's the winning number. That will change a scene. It opens up a whole new playground to play on. There's that. There's also matching the energy. If someone is not agreeing and say they're angry, like, screw you. No, I'm not doing that. If you did that back to them and you committed to that, that could be a funny scene too, because it's so absurd. I don't want to do it. Well, neither do I. Well, what are you talking about? And it just kind of goes like that. Or if you do the exact opposite emotion, of someone on stage if you're not connecting. So if someone's just being uber, just stubborn and whatever, if you are sunny sunshine, are not affected by the person at all. I mean, you're relating to them and you're responding, but you're not letting the mood bring you down. You're staying super happy is going to be a funny scene too, where you just don't let it affect you and ruin your scene. You continue with what you're doing.
Yeah.
Honestly, sometimes, like in life, if someone is being really not agreeable or you don't know what they're doing on stage, just say what you're feeling, like, okay, I'm really nervous. I don't know where you're going with this. And in a scene, that works. Or if you say, listen, I want to stay in this marriage too, but you're making it really hard. You just state the obvious, what is actually going on stage, and bring it back.
Yeah.
It doesn't all have to be crazy relationship. It can be, you just don't seem like yourself right now. And if they're being kind of crazy on stage, that's a funny line to an audience because they're like, what the hell's going on? So it is. If you just call someone out on their stuff, sometimes that'll wrangle a scene back in.
Yeah.
Or you just leave the stage.
Yeah. That's exactly what I was going to say. The one you didn't mention was starting to sing and just walking off stage.
Worked for us. That was a funny show. That was a great show.
Yeah, it was the end of the show too. So you weren't abandoning anybody out there either.
I think we got a standing ovation. Not maybe a full audience standing ovation, but some people that realized what we were doing and did it gave us a standing ovation. It's almost like when you pull off something you're not supposed to pull off. It's kind of fun.
Do you have any memories or any audience interaction stories that either went really good or really bad?
There was a bachelor party. Sometimes you get bachelorette and bachelor parties that come to the show. You usually try to get them before they've drank way too much, but they're usually pretty fun because they're up for a good time and, they want to have fun. And usually when you call someone up on stage to do like a game or something, the bride-to-be or the groom-to-be will come up. So it's fun. Or they can be just super obnoxious and think, we're the bachelor party, we're taking over this theater, and they just are obnoxious to the point of you're going to throw them out because it's that bad. There was a bachelor party and they kind of ruined our show because they wouldn't shut up. So getting off the stage, we were like, God, how about shutting up and doing that kind of thing when we got off. And then one of the guys came up and said, well, looks like I helped you out on the show. I think you probably need to go out with me now. And I was like, dude, really? That's your opening line? And I was like, I want to put you in your place so bad. But I was like, oh, really? That's fun. Okay, well, no, having fun. But then actually it was someone I was dating at the time came up and said, oh, did you like the show? Did you like what she was doing on stage and blah, 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 and played along with it. Yeah, I'm going to go out with her and all this other stuff. And then he said, well, that's going to be hard, because we were dating. And then the guy was like, ooh, after that. That's always fun to play that for a little bit. And he deserved it because he was kind of a jerk during the show. But that was the only one.
Was he inebriated?
Oh, yeah. No, he was pretty drunk and confident. He had liquid courage going. And so he thought he really helped our show out and had no idea how much he really wrecked it and kept interrupting and it was bad. And to the point we just started ignoring it and doing whatever we wanted to up there, not listening to the suggestions just because they were bad. And yeah. That guy, and then had the audacity to ask me out after, like, are you really? Really? You just ruined my show.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God, I'm so turned on by you right now because you ruined my show. It was just, I thought, A, for confidence, dude, but no. There was another one where the teen show it's a family show. You can bring your family, and we have a couple kids on the team that have big families. And so they're teenagers, but their younger siblings are young. Like, we're talking a toddler for one. And it's cute when they'll yell out a suggestion once. This one toddler, hey, give us an object. Cookie! Great! We went with cookie. Every suggestion after that, the toddler yelled out cookie. To the point of we're like, give us a suggestion besides cookie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a kid. What are you going to do? Yell at a kid? No. And the parents were thrilled.
Yeah.
My kid's doing improv. No. Your kid's not doing improv. No, he's not. He's being kind of obnoxious in the audience. So I would recommend no kids in your audience if you want a good show. I'm kidding.
Yeah, the weird thing was after that show, that toddler came up to you and was like, hey, yelling cookie really helped out. I think we should go out.
We're dating now. Yeah. We're hot and heavy. Hot and heavy.
Yeah, you're an item. Yeah.
We're a thing. God. Only improv people say stuff like this.
Well, only improv people should say stuff like this. Anyone else saying it, you should be wary of.
You should be arrested.
Yeah. What's your favorite short form game?
It's an exercise warm-up. I really like Hitchhiker because, A, if I want my troupe or the teens, I want them to do characters. I want them to try new stuff on stage instead of just doing you talking on stage in one position. I want them to branch out. Like three people in a car, pick up a hitchhiker. The hitchhiker has something going on, either an accent or a mood or something, and the people in the car automatically take on that person's persona or mood or dialect or whatever they're doing. And it's an automatic reassurance. They're complimenting you on your choice. So it's a win-win. Someone's trying something new. Three other people are supporting it and doing it. And then you get a laugh. It makes trying to get new characters or trying them out. It always is like a great game to try new characters out. I like it as a game. If you're doing a game-based show, Hitchhiker is always, it's fast-paced usually, it's funny. Our teams, they're really good about bringing back stuff, recalling stuff, even if someone in the audience. I remember one time, someone came in late and I made fun of them coming in late. And one of the guys on stage became that person, oh, hey, I'm late, and did the exact same words. And then the audience got, oh, it's the guy that came in late,
Yeah.
Oh, stuff like that always makes me laugh, and they're good at that stuff. And it's such an easy game to play. Everyone can do Hitchhiker.
Yeah.
And if you're nervous, it's over real fast, painless. Get up there, do something. Be your grandma. Get in a car. It's good.
What about long form structure? Do you have a favorite long form?
I like Armando because I like someone talking and then someone interpreting that story or kind of doing something that relates to that story. Always to me is entertaining.
Yeah.
Usually the people that do the monologues are people that you want to know something about. And most of the times the stories are pretty true. That's kind of the unwritten rule is you got to be honest. Even if it's going to embarrass you or something, you have to really tell a true story that the players in back of you can sink their teeth into and really do something with. I like Laurent. I like that one too because it just keeps it going. I like shows where it's like you almost don't want to laugh because you're going to miss another line.
Yeah.
It just keeps coming like that. It just really is fast-paced and it's so clever. Or it's so witty and it's so much energy on stage. It's captivating. It's magic. It's just fun to watch. I know I'm using the word magic a lot today, but it is. It's entertaining to me.
Yeah.
Joe Bill does the bat where it's in complete darkness.
Mm-hmm.
I have never done the bat. I've always wanted to do the bat, especially for the wrong reasons. I wanted to do the bat with the after-school specials, the teen troupe, and it was a couple years ago. And there were a couple people that dressed pretty risque for rehearsals. And it became to the point where it was just like, wow, that's what you notice is how they're dressed. You can't help it.
Yeah.
Get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just thought, if we did the bat and all the lights were off, then we could just get back to improv and not having squirrely boys because they're seeing half a boob or something. I really wanted to try it. I never did because I thought, I'm just doing this because I don't want to look at teen boob right now.
Teen Boob was my Herald team name.
It was popular. You guys did really well.
Yeah.
You did the circuit.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the motivation to get back to improv, I think that sounds like the right reasons to try to do something in the dark. Wrong reasons would be so that two of them could go make out somewhere while we're performing or whatever. Those are the wrong reasons.
It really is distracting, especially at that age. It's just distracting. I'm sorry. And my thing was, I'd always say, for shows, the clothes you wear, I want you to put on your show clothes, what you're going to wear, and then do a cartwheel. Did anything show that's not supposed to, or did anything pop out? No? Good. You're good to go. There's your show clothes. If something does not work out when you do a cartwheel, then change. Because you don't want to have to worry about your clothes. Malfunction on stage, or at least I didn't want to have to worry, I just wanted to be free to really get into the improv. So When I was doing it at IO, I wore overalls and turtleneck a lot of time. That's pretty covered up, pretty Amish.
Yeah.
Yeah, just pants and something that was not going to pop open or something. I really didn't dress for a date per se.
I mean, that's extra impressive that drunk guy was asking you out when you were in a turtleneck and overalls. I mean, you must have been doing some great work.
Oh, I think he liked Amish.
Oh,
He had an Amish fetish. He really liked Mennonites.
he had a beard and a straw hat. You didn't mention that.
He did, and I thought, well, that's kind of telling, but I didn't judge. I wasn't going to stereotype.
Yeah. It's the only bachelor party that was actually also coincided with Rumspringa.
They were all 13 getting married.
Like the Amish do.
They do. They hook up young, those Amish.
Do you have any short form game or long form structure that you really do not like?
A lot. There's a lot. Let's see. Hotspot. I am good at rhyming until you tell me to get on a stage and rhyme. And then I can't. And same thing with, I can joke off stage all day with like 1,000 light bulbs. Walk into a bar. That one.
Yeah.
For some reason, my brain turns off for that game, and I can never nail it on stage. If I'm in the audience, I'm killing. I'm doing great. But if I'm on stage, I just never get that one down. Other people are so quick and really good at it. I don't know. Just never really latched onto that game very well.
What's the hotspot that you're talking about? Because I know a different hotspot, so I don't think I know the one that you're talking about.
Hotspot, and this is a game this is like level 1 Sharna, where you would sing the lyrics to a song, or you would pick something like a star, and then you would have to sing a song that has star in it, or is the main part star.
Oh, right,
And
right.
then you would pick another thing. Someone was standing in the middle of the stage, someone would push that person off, and then start singing a different song, and you just keep pushing people out of the way and bringing up a song. And again, know a lot of songs, just went blank whenever that game came up.
Yeah. Okay. I think that is a lot closer to the one that I know than I thought.
Yeah. Hot seat or hot spot.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
What about long form? Any long form structures that you hate?
Not really. Long form to me is just continuing with the first scene and exploring it out.
Yeah.
I like that. I like to see where it goes. I love a really good, solid, a really hearty, good, strong first scene, and then to take part of that and bring part of that back into other scenes that relate. I love that. And I think if you're looking at long form, it kind of is like that, isn't it? Most of them loop back around or relate to the very first action on stage. And I don't really have a problem with long form. Maybe the bat, because I never played it. But that's not good for Joe Bill. Because I've never played it, so I don't know if the reason I'd want to do it is so I don't have to look at boobs. So I guess, Maybe we'll say the bat, but Joe Bill, no, it's not because of the bat.
I didn't ask before, but what was your trajectory from long form into short form, or was it all mixed together when you were going through? There wasn't really any sort of huge division. How did you get into both?
Short form started with games first, and then just kind of doing games together, kind of to do longer scenes or work our way into long form. But definitely short form first, yeah. Really, do people just jump into long form when they start improv? That seems like a lot.
I think if you're in Chicago and you just start taking classes at IO or whatever, that's what you're going to learn first.
Really? Okay.
So I didn't know if Players Workshop, you learned the short form games is what you started with before getting into long form?
Yeah, because like with the Herald, you have games in your set. So it would make sense to learn some of these games first, so then you can incorporate them into your set. At least that's the reasoning I thought. Interesting that they're starting with long form now and not games, but it seems like they're leaving it to comedy sports to be doing games. Like they do long form in Chicago now, not games. No games.
Yeah, I've always felt like most games, and I say most, I can't think of any that wouldn't fit into this off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's some. But most games are exercising a certain improv muscle.
Mm-hmm.
So this game is really concentrating on this one thing, and this one thing that it's concentrating on, you can definitely use if you're just doing improv with no game structure attached. You're just doing long form or whatever. That's a good muscle to have exercised.
True.
Something I thought was encouraging, I think comedy sports lost their space probably during the pandemic, but they are playing at IO I don't know how often, but the Comedy Sports Chicago has kind of found a home at IO, which I thought was nice.
Oh, good. Yeah, they had a really nice space too. And everyone was kind of in close proximity. The Annoyance, Comedy Sport, IO. I know I'm going to be forgetting a lot of theaters. Victory Gardens. There were a lot of them just kind of in that Wrigleyville, Clark, Lakeview area.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Second City and Old Town.
Yeah. They're a little more dispersed, and more have popped up now too, because you've got the Revival, you've got Home Theater, you've got Logan Square, still happening. Just new names replace some older names, and some of the iconic theaters are still around doing their thing.
Yeah, that was a weird time when IO closed and everyone was closing down because after pandemic and all that. That was sad.
Yeah.
That was a sad time because so many years building that up and really making it kind of the hub of improv Chicago. If you want to learn improv, go to Chicago.
Yeah.
It was sad. I was glad that they found a place again, but for a while there, it was like, wow, is it really over?
Yeah.
That's when Second City got bought too, and I don't know, they let go of a lot of the original staff or so. And again, don't quote me on any of that, but they were going through a big transition. IO closed down, Sharna sold it or something, and it just seemed like everyone was scattering. But I'm glad that it came back together. I know a lot of the improvers that I did improv with are running Home now and the Revival, so yay.
Yeah.
I'm glad they're doing that.
Yeah, me too. I was happy to see that those were forming, because I also thought that maybe IO was in the dustbin for good. I'm glad that it's not. I still have some friends that are doing some stuff over there. I think it's a very different IO from even when I was there because of the turnover that happened. I attribute no motive to any of it, but if, there've been growing pains or shrinking pains, whatever they might be.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that Chicago is still a town for improv, and if IO were to burn down tomorrow or whatever, there'd still be plenty of places to go and plenty of people motivated to keep it going.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree. Wait, we need to talk about Martin DeMott. He was at Players Workshop too.
Okay.
I think he had a huge, huge impact on making improv just loving and got as huge as it did because of him, like Don DiPolo and him and Gelman. Just, man, those guys, they ate, breathed, drank. Improv was their thing. And Martin just made you feel like you were special, like you did a good job up there, and just found joy in everything. And it was really sad when Martin died, and he still is. People still put him on a pedestal to this day, as they should, because he was just such a great guy. He was just so motivating.
Yeah.
And dearly missed by the people that got to work with him.
Yeah, the Second City, I believe, still has the stage named for him.
Is it DiPolo? Don still has his theater there, doesn't he?
Yeah, I only know the DeMatt.
Oh, so that's good. They did give Martin a theater.
I think they have more space than when I was there, and I know they're contracting a little bit because they were going to get rid of the second floor space they built out primarily for the film school stuff.
They're not doing the film school? Oh, no. You know why?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what happened there.
I think DePaul's film school is crazy good.
Yeah.
Crazy good. And I think that might have been a reason.
That makes sense. 2
of my troupe from the after school specials, actually 3 of them are at DePaul doing film school right now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So maybe that's why.
You're going to have a wall of fame.
You know what? Can I just say there's some that have went on to stand up. I got one at Carleton that was very shy, and I had him since he was a little guy, and ended up it's the stand-up club or something, and they perform. He's the only freshman to ever make that team at Carleton, which is awesome.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I had another kid, and this is years ago, was nonverbal in class. And that was fine because we can do nonverbal improv.
Yeah.
You can still communicate without words. That kid ended up talking at the end, or just like answering very short, hi, or whatever, but ended up talking, made a nonverbal verbal. So improv did that. And that's a pretty big win, I think.
Yeah.
We had someone he had child leukemia, and when you looked at him, he looked sick. He was just bones. That's all he was. And he kind of lost his will to live, literally, because he was sick for so long. His body went through just so much, and he just wasn't socializing anymore. He was staying in the house, so his mom put him in improv. It was one of our summer camps. Put him in there, and the kid thrived. And everyone, he looked so frail. Everyone was aware. And I said, let's just get this out. I said, the kid's name. has gone through sickness. Anyone punches him or shoves him, I'm going to punch or shove you back. And that became kind of the joke. Like, don't do it. Kelly's going to push you if you do. Because it's the elephant in the room, and he made a joke of it too. And we actually, at the show at the end, he made a joke about how frail he was, and the audience laughed. That kid, I actually ran into his mother because I did a workshop for her company later on, and she said that was the catalyst that got him back out there, and now he's like normal weight. He's super popular in high school, and he has a girlfriend, and he's doing sports. I'd like to say improv kind of got him back in the game in a way.
Yeah.
Because he had so much fun and got so much confidence in that summer camp that he just kept going after that. That's the kind of stuff that I really want to explore, with people, like giving them a tool to help them get to another level or reach further.
Yeah.
Not stop where they are. And that's not always easy, especially kids that are neurodiverse that just get knocked down so much or judged, or everything they do is made fun of, or God, kids can be mean. And to give them a tool to fight back with, not literally, but to, yes, and, blah, 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 and to just like not close down and not shut down, but actually come back, really is a tool that should be exploited, I think.
Yeah.
So when autistic kids come in my class, I can tell them right away, and I'm thrilled. I love it. I'm like, yes. Because truth be told, I'm probably on this autism spectrum. If you ask my close friends, they're like, yeah, you definitely are. But I know I'm neurodiverse. I know I'm dyslexic. I know I have ADHD. I know I'm kind of quirky and whatever. I don't care now.
Yeah.
And that's improv. Made me not give a crap. It took me from being so judgy of myself, painfully judging myself, to being just, this is me, this is what's going on. So if you don't like it, move along. Other people in the world.
Now in your classes, you're climbing on tables and saying, catch me, and then jumping to the floor and
Yeah.
doing it again until they actually catch you.
My nose has been broken so many times. There are so many. We should just do a podcast of Dell stories, because there are some wild Dell stories out there. Wild.
Yeah. Well, I do want to switch gears a little bit. I have sort of some inside the actor studio type questions for you.
Sure.
First one is, Kelly, how do you get into the proper headspace to play?
It's my tics, basically. My tics start to kick in before a show, so I'll just do them bigger to kind of get them under control. And I'm not talking like I don't have Tourette's or anything, but doing like snapping fingers. I do that sometimes, but I'll just do it to the point of obnoxious, because then that'll just release it, and then that's usually how I can calm down on stage. I also, just from having to get up on stage, I think I've mastered this to a point. I leave it at the door. When I go on stage, I just convince myself for 45 minutes or an hour, I can get up there and not think about what is really bugging me.
Yeah.
When my parents died, I was doing improv, and I think that's how I really learned to do it. I didn't want to learn to do it, but I had to. And I had to, all the stuff that was going on, all the changes, all the heartbreak, all that stuff, and I still had a show to do. So I had to go up there and just act like everyone else and have a good time, and then go home and still deal with whatever was going on. So I think that's how, you learn to compartmentalize, and you just learn, this is the job you're going to do, and you're going to do it. You're going to get up there and you're going to do it. It's not going to be forever. It's for 45 minutes. And then you can get off, and then I convince myself, if you want to go and cry or do something afterwards, you go ahead and do it, Kelly. Go ahead. But, for the time you're on stage, you just do it.
Yeah.
And it's a discipline. It is. I don't think you can say a magic word and all of a sudden you're transformed on stage. I think you have to work on being disciplined and to not let certain things bug you, and that's just being professional on stage.
Yeah.
You try not to let the outside affect your performance. It's not a new struggle. I think every actor goes through that, though, or improviser, probably.
Is there a warm-up that you like to do with your group, or do you prefer to spend time alone?
I like both. Before a show, when I'm getting ready, I'll go through, try to think of, okay, we're going to do this. I do this well. I don't do this well. Remember this. And just kind of go through my list of what I know that I do on stage well or not do. And what I just remind myself, don't do this, don't do this. something funny that the teens, I had rehearsal last night with them, and they remind me, I didn't even realize I did it. When I'm in a scene with them, or if I'm jumping in to just do something, I always start a scene, I'll be chopping something, just because I hate when people stand there. So I'll fold clothes or chop.
Yeah.
And they called me out, you do that every time, Kelly, you chop something. And I had no idea I was doing that. So maybe that's it. I chop fake onions or something. I don't know. I just think when you warm up with your team before a show and you can we like to do knife throwing.
Yeah.
Like where you throw the pretend knife, but then it lands in different areas on us that we have to pull it out of, or the knife turns into something else. So we amp that up, and that's pretty fun to do. I would say that usually gets us in a pretty good group mind fast.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite a favorite ask for the audience?
A situation, or like a relationship situation, or these two people are in a relationship. It's interesting what people come back with, and usually it's funny right off the bat. You're at a wedding, your brother and sister. Well, you know what's going to come. So I think asking for situations or relationship issues usually it comes out with a good answer.
Do you have a least favorite suggestion? Like, is there something that you've either gotten so many times that you don't want to hear it again, or are there suggestions that you would you just don't like?
McDonald's. God love you, McDonald's. You have advertised it into everyone's brain now. That's what people usually say. Give us the location. McDonald's. Oh, I have done improv in every part of McDonald's. Parking lot. I'm doing the fries. Yeah, it's just I'm over McDonald's and Taco Bell. I'll add Taco Bell to that.
Do you have a way that you will burn a suggestion?
I try to keep it true where the first thing that you audibly hear and that the audience hears, the first real suggestion that comes through is what I'll go with, because to me that's improv. Even if it's a bad suggestion, you got to go with it. I do that, but you can also kind of steer an audience by doing things like, hey, how about something you like to do, like baseball or that? And then you can say, how about not telling us proctology or blah, blah, blah. You know, like you give them the no's.
Yeah.
Like, please don't tell us that. It takes a person with pretty big kahunas to yell out proctologist after you say, not proctologist.
Yeah.
And they still do. And then they get shamed. As they should.
Describe your onstage persona. Is onstage Kelly different than everyday Kelly?
Not really, no. And probably because I've melded the two together, because when I'm doing class, I sit sometimes, but again, the ADHD, so I walk around, so I'm listening and I'm watching, but I'm walking sometimes just to get my energy out. Or I'm like right off to the side of stage. And so I feel like I'm on stage, even though I don't jump up and do something. Like for the teen show, I'm hosting, so I'll jump in if need be. But no, I would say I'm pretty much same off and on.
Cool.
Unless I'm doing a character.
Yeah. What inspires you on stage?
You know what I love is object work. Someone that does really good object work. And to the point of they might be making a cake, but they're talking to you about the relationship you're having. Kind of like in real life, when you're in a kitchen and you're pouring a glass of water, but you're talking to someone. You're not totally just focused on the water and then talk to them. It looks just effortless. One time I saw someone, they were at a bar and they were holding fake pints of beer in their hand. Literally, that team walked off stage and the person was still holding a pint of beer in their hand. A fake pint. They forgot they had that. But when you commit, because it's funny when they establish a table on stage and then they walk right through it, you know, or something. I just love really good object work that really complements a scene. It's almost like the object work becomes like a little mini scene in itself. Like someone, if they're awkward or they're getting nervous, they speed up whatever they're doing without saying a word. So it's that kind of stuff that you speak without speaking.
Yeah.
But you're supporting. And I think different levels of support on stage is really cool to see. Not just the back and forth talking, but bringing in other elements to it, I think is cool. There's one exercise that I really do, if you are coaching or teaching a class, I highly recommend it. You can't get super mean, but after the class has been together a while, you have them go up and you say, I want to see the thing that you do on stage that's the worst, that you do all the time, that you do and you do it every time, and you got to get better at doing it. You will not hear bigger laughs than that. Like they face the wall, or they talk over people, or they come in or they totally ignore, they walk through tables and they just do what they know they're not supposed to. And to see it like really blown out and glorified, it's really entertaining, actually. Or I say, mimic someone else in the class.
Yeah.
And then we're going to guess who you are. That's always fun. You got to watch that it doesn't get mean, though.
Yeah.
But people have little gimmicks or little idiosyncrasies that they do all the time that they don't realize. Or their inflections when they talk. I always say, okay, I need 2 lovelies on stage. And so when they imitate me, I need 2 lovelies up there. That kind of stuff. That's fun.
Is there anything that shuts you down or takes you out of it on stage?
When people aren't listening and they're talking over and it's just chaos, kind of, where people want their bit to be heard and you can tell they're not in the scene, they're just thinking of what they're going to say. So they're not really listening or not reacting to the last thing they heard. They're more or less just running their own agenda.
Yeah.
And it just gets chaotic and, I don't like that because no one hears it. No one hears what you're saying if everyone's talking. And you're not really being a good partner on stage if you're talking over someone. So that, I'd say, is my pet peeve.
Yeah, that and boob.
And side boob. Come on. Enough of the side boob on stage. It's distracting.
In your estimation, what makes a good scene partner?
Someone that really connects with you. I can tell it's going to be a good scene if I go onto a stage with someone and they're staring right at me. It's not smirking, but you can really pick up on someone's energy or how the scene's going to go if you really look at them and really get their emotion. You start that way, and then if you react emotionally, like every time someone says something or presents something, how do you feel about that? How does that really make you feel? And then you react to that. It's just a natural scene that actually is believable because they related to each other. It wasn't about being at McDonald's. It was about what you were ordering in line and you got in a fight about. That kind of stuff, I think, is way more interesting than doing the other stuff.
Yeah.
I like to see people have an emotional reaction that is honest or is believable. When people fake cry and go, ah, on stage, I really hate that. Unless it's for the sake of the scene and it needed to happen. I like more natural emotions, I guess.
Do you have any advice that you would give to your younger self?
I would give myself a break. I was very, very hard on myself. And it's because I was always told to stop doing something or to do something different. So I would give myself a break and not be so hard because my 20s and 30s were hard. They were hard times. And just the other stuff going on, it was hard. I think it was because I was undiagnosed at the time. And so I just thought I was always wrong or I wasn't doing something correct or I was too much. But it was the ADHD. And I wish I would have known sooner that I was neurodiverse and that it's not a disease. It's just different. You're wired different. That's all it is.
Yeah.
So I think that would be it. Maybe, and I wouldn't have dated a few people that I dated. That would have helped out a lot.
Do you have a favorite type of character to play?
I have an old woman that, is a little spicy, that I like to play her just because she says outrageous things that I always want to be able to say in real life. It's kind of fun to actually say it out loud.
Yeah.
And then playing a teenager that, is disrespectful and thinks they know everything because, God, I deal with them enough. It's fun to throw it back in their face.
If you could do a scene with anyone alive, who would it be?
Oh my gosh. There's not just one person, there's so many.
It doesn't have to be the only person you'd like to do a scene with, but...
You know what? My old team Pache dancers, that would be fun to play with them again. I would love to play with Amy Poehler. We had some pretty fun laughs. We did a calendar.
Yeah.
It was 1994 or something. It was the improv skirts calendar, and it was women improvisers. And they just did famous shots like from Herb Ritts and Annie Leibovitz, but we parodied them.
Yeah.
And Amy was our cover. God, that shoot was so fun. We had such a fun time. And anytime I saw her at the theater, she was always just fun. She was never in like a weird mood. She was always, hey, what's going on,
Yeah.
Tina, of course. Tina is so brilliant. She would bury me on stage, I think, though. Steve Colbert, his cadence and the way he talks, I could listen to it all day. It fascinates me because it's just the diction that he has. And it's even when he's improvising, it sounds like it's scripted. He just always sounds so on
Yeah.
and professional. I don't know if I would have the guts to do a scene with him, but man, I just love listening to him and watching him do improv. He still has the chops. He really does.
Yeah.
TJ and Dave Pasquazi, those two, wow, unbelievable. Liz Allen is awesome. You know what? Now I'm going to forget a bunch of people and I'm going to feel bad about it. So I'm going to have to just write you out a list of everyone.
It's just a cross section. That's all right.
There's a Messing. Miss Messing is always fun on stage because she don't give a shit either.
Let me switch it up a little bit. If you could do a scene with anyone who is no longer with us, who would it be?
Dell. I would want to now, not beginning improv me, but I would love now to go on stage with Dell and just try to match him.
Yeah.
Not falling off anything, but I would match him. I think that would be like a really cool thing to do, would be on stage with Dell in a scene. That would be interesting.
And if you could do a scene with anyone fictional, who would it be?
You know who I think would be a really fun scene because she just always seems like, yeah, let's do it, is who's the mom on Bob's Burgers?
I don't watch Bob's Burgers. I can picture her in my head, but I don't know the name.
All right, let's go. She's always like, okay, I think she would be fun to do one with.
When you are improvising where you have a tech in the booth, what's the most helpful thing that they can offer from the booth?
Is that they are improvisers themselves. And because taking out the lights or adding music or something at the right moment can actually make a scene brilliant. Just knowing when to pull lights or to change it is key.
Yeah.
Or, God, if someone starts doing a monologue and someone can spotlight you, the lighting can change so much on stage.
Yeah.
And I will say this, IO had the best, I would say, piano players. Well, and Comedy Sports did too, because they interchanged. But man, the piano players at IO at the time were just so good. And they were improvisers themselves. Like, they could improvise the piano. And it fit so well with the scenes on the spot. They were a really integral part of the show. And if you got a good piano player, your show was better.
Yeah.
I miss that. Like Lawrence Fingerhut was one. But we had just great piano players, really good. And that was important. I think if you're going to do a show, it's good to have some music or piano music because musical improv always goes over pretty well. But it just helps, it enhances your scenes. They can change a scene just by doing like a plot twist on the piano or something.
Yeah.
And if you trust your piano player and your tech person, so great. They are very, very important to a troupe, a performing troupe, I would say.
What is the least helpful from the booth?
When you hear them talking.
Yeah. Yep.
Audibly hear them talking, that's distracting the invisible person in the scene. So you are aware of them. If they're doing something or something's going on different in the booth, then that is distracting because you pay attention to them because they might be giving you a cue or something. But then if they're just doing other stuff in the booth, then, you're thrown a little bit. I would say that would be it.
Yeah.
But the tech that we have, I don't really think there's bad tech. I've never had someone that wasn't really doing a good job or enhancing the show, not taking away from it. I guess we're lucky that way.
Yeah.
Or when they don't take out the lights when they should. They don't know when to end it, or they don't hear the cue.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's subtle. You got to know when to end it. You got to know when you're losing steam or when someone does like a big ending, cut it. Don't let it go on.
Yeah, yeah.
And that takes work from the booth. It takes work from the piano. It also takes work from the team to not pay attention and blindly go out and start another scene. It's like, no, dude, that was it. We're done.
Yeah.
It's like big crescendo and then, oh, another scene. Oh, okay.
Other than laughter, what audience sound do you revel in?
Oh, the shock, like, oh, that one.
Yeah.
If someone gets a good burn in, or if someone does something shocking, they're like, oh. I think that's pretty funny.
What is the worst venue you've ever played?
Oh, God. It was a birthday party, and there was no stage. And there was also, it was like everything you ever wanted in a birthday is going to be at this birthday. So there were clowns. There was, try to do improv and compete with a bouncy house. No, unless you're doing the improv in the bouncy house. So improv sometimes doesn't pair well with other attractions. This birthday, it was a train wreck.
Yeah.
to the point that we just were laughing at the end because they meant well and hey, improv's fun. Let's have improv. Okay. So they hired us and we did it, but no, it was bad. And the birthday kid, I think he was a little spoiled actually, but he just was, nothing made him in a good mood. I'm like, kid, you basically got everything you ever would want ever. I'm thinking improv being the least of what you want right now, but man, you got everything. You got a horse. You got the horse. And this kid was just, nope, nah, nothing was good. I'm like, dude, you're going to be fun to date later. And then ask him out. I like him young.
What was the best note or words of wisdom that you've received?
It wasn't words of wisdom, but it was just a compliment, I guess. I was at Second City and Harold Ramis was there. And, Harold, his hair is crazy. It's like kind of Kramer hair in a way. It's just big.
Yeah.
I am horrible at keeping what I'm thinking inside on my face. My face will not be still. If I'm disgusted, I'm going to look disgusted. Even when I'm trying not to be, my face will tell you what I'm feeling. I work really hard at not doing that, but I'm bad at secrets. And I was doing reacting to a face, and he came up to me and he said, "Your face is about as big as my hair." And meaning that was really expressive and stuff. And I thought, well, if Harold Ramis likes it, then I'm going to be okay with it. That was a nice compliment. Matt Besser, when I got off stage one time, and this is when UCB they were surging. Before they left for New York, they were a pretty big deal. And he watched one of our shows. And Matt Besser is just, his cadence of talking is always like, well, that's a me. And he just, when I came off stage, he goes, that was really good. Really, really good. And he was almost like, I need to pay attention to you more. Not surprised, but I should probably pay attention. That made me feel super good. That lasted me through many bad shows.
Yeah.
Just got a little picture of Matt. That's what I do before a show. I pray to the altar of Matt Besser. Please, Matt, tell me I'm good.
What was the least helpful note that you've received? And if you haven't received one, what's the least helpful note you can conceive of?
Honestly, I think it's the note that every woman hates to hear. And the show did not support what this guy wanted to see. I don't know what he was doing, but after I got off the show, some audience member goes, you would be way funnier and way prettier if you smiled more on stage. Which made me smile, going, really? Okay. Thank you. And the show was not I think the character or whatever at the time, I wasn't purposely frowning.
Yeah.
I think it was the character at the time that I was doing, or the situation. It wasn't, I'm just going to play a mean person this whole show. It wasn't that. But I thought if I smiled, I'd be better.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, you're so helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. Brilliant guy to think of something like that too.
Well, and I think he thought that he was being kind of funny, but that was a Me Too thing to say, smile more and you'll be prettier or whatever. But these guys aren't supposed to say.
Yeah.
And he said it, and he was pretty proud of it. And I just kind of looked at him like, really? Jesus. Okay, thanks. And walked away.
If there were an Academy Awards for everything improv, what would you be nominated for?
I'm pretty quick-witted, I guess, on stage. I can think of things, and that's total neurodiverse. Total. But I see things differently than most people see it. And that's just the way I look at life and stuff. And I think it's just worked its way into my persona on stage. I tend to be clever, or I tend to bring things together that you didn't think were going to come together. How about that?
Sure.
And my kick-ass rack.
Which you don't show.
My hidden side boob.
Yeah.
That's the best part.
If you are remembered 100 years from now for something improv related, what would you want it to be?
Oh, definitely that it helped people that didn't have a voice or didn't think they have a voice, or that were put down or teased a lot, that this gave them some confidence to keep going, keep reaching, doing different things, and not be discouraged about it. The one thing in my class, I don't like bullies. There is no bullying. At least not in my class while it's going on. If you do it outside, I'll find out about it and wreck you. But I don't like bullies, and I love when you give someone a safe space, a real safe space, and encourage them. Like genuine encouragement. And that especially from the rest of the team. And if you're going to laugh at someone, you all laugh together. It's not, no one's being laughed at, everyone's laughing at it. And I really, really stress that. And I think it helps because I think it calms some people down and they realize, oh, I can be a goof in here. No one's going to judge me, or if they are, we're all going to laugh about it. I really like that. I wish I could bottle that and sell it
Yeah.
to people like in classes or companies or something, because there are a lot of really cool, creative people out there that have been just pounded down because they were different or they didn't fit into the peg the right way. And they're just a little different. And so they really took a hit for it. And so they just kind of give up and they don't put it out there anymore because they just don't want to deal with it. I think improv brings that out again or opens that door again for some people. And I hope that's what it is that I gave people a voice again, like a reason to get up there and try stuff.
Yeah, I love it.
I guess that'd be it.
That's it for my interview with Kelli McBride. If you're in the South Bend, Northwest Indiana, or Southwest Michigan area and you're looking for some improv, you should look her up. And if you have any questions about the amazing work she's doing with her teens, shoot her a message via the links in the show notes. You can get a hold of me by sending a message to improvbrain@gmail.com. As always, thanks for listening to Improv Autopsy.